Hey, okay, so tonight's video is going to be about a couple of questions you can ask yourself about your anger. And I'm going to keep this simple tonight, but these questions are very helpful to just bring you some clarity and give you some direction um, when you feel the rage coming on. We can go deeper into detail with this. I'll probably write about this stuff later because these are really good ideas, but I'm just going to go with 3 for right now. And then if you have any questions or anything you'd like me to go over in the next video, message me or comment and I can add it, to the next thing and we'll discuss it. Um, my first question that I like to ask myself when I'm angry is about my expectations, because a lot of times you can get really pissed off at somebody for not doing what you think they should do, or could have done. And I have uh, caught myself many, many times getting angry about somebody not doing what I thought they would or could. And your expectations of somebody can really, really, really screw things up for you. Because especially if you haven't made it clear with that person like beforehand, and you just kind of think they're going to do something, or not do something, and it turns out to be the opposite. And you can really put too much energy into being disappointed and being angry, um, because you thought that person was going to be able to do whatever it was you needed, and it turns out they can't. The next step with that would be, eventually acceptance that that person isn't going to be what you want or what you need, or can't do that thing, um, and the anger, typically does kind of fizzle out after that, because you kind of have to make your peace with it. That person can only do what they can do. They're working within their scope, and that's it. And the disappointment and the anger that you're feeling from your expectations not being met is you realizing what that person's capabilities are and their limitations, more to the point, their limitations. So you have to really remind yourself, when you're getting involved with people, no matter what it is, you have to keep yourself in check and say, okay, I'm not going to tell myself that this person should do this or should do that, especially without expressing it, and just kind of expecting it. Don't let yourself fall into that trap, because you can really, that, as they call it, that's a slippery slope. You can really screw up your own mind by thinking somebody's going to do something for you and they don't. And, you might not have a backup plan. What if it's like an emergency type thing? You think somebody's going to come through for you and they don't. I've had that, a lot of times, and it's really rough. Thinking somebody's going to help you with something, especially in a bad situation that you find yourself in, and they don't, or they can't. Even if they said, I've had people who said they would help me and then backed out at the last minute when things got really bad. And I could have just strangled them. But that was my expectations, thinking, sadly, thinking that they were going to keep their word, and that, I know it's hard. I know this is hard. And it has taken me, I'm 35, right? It's taken me this long to learn this, and to teach myself this, and to train myself. You have to retrain your brain completely to start accepting shit you used to not accept. And this is one of those times where I want to say my best word for this right now off the top of my head is detachment. And it really is, the Buddhists are onto something with that. That is invaluable, because you learn how to hear what somebody says. If they say, oh yeah, I'll do that for you, yeah, don't worry about it, I got you, okay, all right, cool. Please have a backup plan anyway. Have a plan B somehow, if that's the kind of situation you're dealing with. Have another way of helping yourself, or somebody else you can go to, or whatever. Because if that person backs out, either voluntarily or something goes wrong and they can't be there or whatever, you know, it's okay to say, okay, yeah, all right, that sounds good. Well, thanks for doing that for me. Thanks for, making that promise or whatever. But don't um, rely on that completely. You can't, because things happen, shit happens and things go wrong that you can't control. And you sure as hell can't control what somebody else is doing or isn't doing. And the expectations thing, let me tell you, I have learned some big, big, big lessons about what I thought somebody could or couldn't do. And you have to just kind of separate yourself a little bit. And we can go into detail with this. I can write about it, or if you want, we can have a chat about it. If you want to message me, if there's something specific you want to discuss. But sadly, lowering your expectations can take away a lot of the anger for you, because like I've said before, you remind yourself that you're dealing with somebody who's working at their best level, whatever that is. You're going to find out. You're going to find out. So, and you just have to accept that that's all that they can do, um, and then my next question I like to ask myself is, am I angry at the right person? A lot of times you get in situations where something happens and you get pissed off, and it's actually bringing up a bad memory about something, or it's bringing up some kind of unresolved something or other that that you haven't addressed yet, or it reminds you of something, right? And I've had people, not treat me right because I, reminded them of somebody else. I was like, gee, thanks. That doesn't have anything to do with me. And you just have to really catch yourself, because you could be getting angry or taking it out on the wrong person. It may not have anything to do with memories. There are people that like get pissed off about something that happened at work and come home, and then 8 o'clock at night, they're beating their children because their manager got angry at them at work and pulled them to the side and told them they were doing a bad job or some shit like that. Like it could be anything. There's all kinds of situations where that, manifests. But yeah, make sure that you're pissed off at the right person, and you have to really keep yourself in check with this. A lot of this is just choosing to be mature. This is you. If you do these things, you are choosing to be mature. It's a choice, and you choose to grow up, and you choose, or at least you can choose, and you can choose to exercise your own willpower over yourself, if nothing else. And you can choose to keep yourself in check and ask yourself, okay, what am I really doing? What am I really doing in this moment? What am I doing, and why am I doing it? And that's important. And every move you make, and everything you say, and everything you do, and everything you think matters. It matters. And it impacts you, and in turn can impact everybody around you. And we can't expect perfection from each other, right? But it's important to ask yourself, especially when you're really swept up in a hostile emotion, and around other people, ask yourself, okay, you just have to stop for a second. You just have to take control for a second and just ask yourself, run it by yourself and say, am I pissed off at the right person? What has really happened here? Or try to, you could do a mental exercise where you kind of like, step away from the situation and like look at it from a third person point of view, and look at it, without the emotion, and watch what plays out the same way, but just without being pissed off about it. I know that's hard. That's a real, that can be, that kind of technique, that takes a lot of practice. So that's not something that's always going to be easy right away. But that is something you can try. Just ask yourself, okay, who am I really pissed off at, or what am I really angry about? And then the last thing I like to think about is my anger getting me what I want? So I like to, let's say somebody likes to, some people seem like they like to argue. They like to cause trouble. They like to make other people fight, whatever. That's, I wouldn't say that's entirely healthy. um, I would like to say that it's kind of a waste of fucking time, and it's a waste of your energy. And there are a lot of other things that you could be doing with that energy and that focus instead of just inciting bullshit. And when you do that, when you do it purposefully, or if you just stay mad about something, you have to really ask yourself, is this, or especially if you're very reactionary with it, you're really like doing stuff and poking at people and stirring the pot and all that kind of stuff. You have to really stop and ask yourself, as a human being and as an adult, is this even getting me what I need right now? Is this even getting me what I want? What is this behavior doing for me? The feeling is telling you what went wrong for you. The feeling is not wrong. Your emotions aren't what's wrong. But if you're, just continuously being an asshole about it, you have to, and you have to really stop and ask yourself, okay, is this improving my quality of life or not? The answer is yes or no. And that's it. There's no in between. Either your life is made better by your decisions, or it's not. It can stay the same. That's fine if you're satisfied with that. If it gets worse because of some decisions you've made, that pay attention to that. If it's made better by some things you're doing, pay attention to that too. But when you're getting hostile with somebody, whether you want to or not, just stop and ask yourself, what is this really doing for my life right now? Am I wasting my own damn time? Answer is yes or no. Some of this shit we can keep simple. Some of it can be kept simple. I like to think that that's one of them. That point right there is my anger get me what I want. And that's it. Or even especially with strangers, you know what I mean? Like bad drivers, or somebody's rude at the service station, or whatever. You're out in public and it's just some clown you've never seen before who just like does something stupid. There are people, no, I have an example. I saw this guy, this is when I lived in Virginia Beach. You won't see this shit here in Pell City, Alabama, but when I lived in Virginia Beach, it's like overrun with Navy, right? And the people in that area, those guys tend to kind of have bad behavior. So that's not, it's, that place wasn't, I'd never go back there. I would never go back there to visit friends, but I'd never go back there to live. But I was going to Walmart one day to buy shoes, and there was a guy walking in front of me. First, I saw him crossing the crosswalk with the kid, and that little boy was not, maybe 2 years old, and the so-called father was doing what you see 9 times out of 10, which is they'll be bounding ahead of them down the sidewalk, right, or in front of them, and the kid, who's about that tall, will be struggling for all it's worth to keep up with him. And he's not looking at the child, nothing. But this guy was crossing the street in Virginia fucking Beach. And it was just Walmart, but those people, because that's people from everywhere else, and they all come together and just act like fucking maniacs. And you can get run over there in fucking no time. And this guy was just like, bebopping across the street with the kid just struggling to keep up. So they get in the store. I went and parked my car. And I walked in there, and I happened to be walking behind that kid, behind them. And he wasn't holding the kid's hand, and there was a lot of people coming in all of a sudden, like out of nowhere. And the child was like almost, kind of getting too far away from him and stuff like that. And he was sort of looking around for him, just like for a second he had lost him. And I said, yeah, you got to hold their hand. And he just kind of like laughed, like it was funny. I might be backwards for this, but I don't think it's funny. And I said, it's not funny. That's how they disappear. I didn't even get that sentence out of my mouth when he was cussing me for all it was worth. Like he was trying to send me straight to hell. Unbeknownst to him, I've already been there, so I don't fucking care. Like, I'm not afraid of it. But my point is, if he could have put his hands on me, he would have. If he could have just touched me once, he would have. Because those guys are real fucking crazy. And military men especially are screwed up because they are miserable with how they live and they don't have any outlets. So they start acting like maniacs. That's why they have so much fucking domestic violence. And I'm not going to be correct on that because I grew up with it and I know exactly what it's like. So I know that it's real. That is how they do. And there might be a small handful of them that don't go home and beat everybody, but let me tell you, there's a big fucking ass number of them that do go home and just beat the shit out of everybody. So knowing that that's the reality and knowing that that was in him and he was, and it certainly was, I obviously wasn't wrong about it because he was demonstrating it. I said, that's not funny. That's how they disappear. And he was just fuming, fuming. If he could have just choked me, I think he would have. Well, come to find out, I went to go get my fucking shoes and got in line at the register. Well, the line was kind of long and I was sort of in a hurry because I had to be somewhere. And I was looking at the person in front of me, just really fucking around, putting their stuff up there, right? And they had a buggy full of shit. And I looked at them, and I kind of looked down the way at the next register. As I looked down this way at the other register, out of the corner of my eye, I swear on my life, this clown was behind me in line, leaning on his buggy on his arms like this, with the poor old kid who's, probably not even going to make it home alive in the seat, right? But he was leaning on the buggy, staring at me, and with a big smart-ass smile on his face, staring at me, right behind me. Now, I didn't give shit. I'm not afraid of anybody. I'm sure as hell not afraid of some damn military boy. I don't give a fuck about that. I've grown up around that. I'm not impressed. So, except I grew up around officers, and that's a whole other world. This guy was just some clown from nowhere. But he obviously had some real issues. Now, that guy was absolutely fucking furious because I had the nerve to tell him that his child could disappear if he didn't hold his motherfucking hand. Period. I don't have any other way to say that. I don't have any other way to tell you that. That is how they disappear. End of. Well, he was had smoke coming out of his ears. And the best he could do was to try to intimidate me by standing behind me and smiling at me. So eventually I went over to the other register anyway because it was open and this lady was taking way too long with her stuff and I had to be somewhere. So I went to the other line anyway, but I had made that decision before I knew he was behind me regardless. But that guy was wasting his energy being pissed off at me. Because as you can see, my life carried on completely fine. I went right on living. I'm the same son of a bitch tonight as I was that day. I'm the same person. I'm a little bit wiser now. But I'm the same person. And if I had seen him, whatever that was, 3 years ago, I don't know, and then seen him again today pulling the same shit, whether I recognize him or not, I've been like, yeah, that's how they get kidnapped. You gotta hold their hand. Especially crossing the street when there's cars doing 50 when they shouldn't be. And he'd probably just pull out a gun and shoot me. But, because he was that angry. I don't know, he wasn't from the South, so he probably has never held a gun in his fucking life until he joined the fucking Navy. And as far as I know, they give them fake guns in their boot camp, which I've heard recently. Fake guns. I've never held a fake gun in my life. Not except for like a water gun I might have had in 1990. That's probably the last and only fake gun I've ever touched. But anyway, I digress. But you see my point. That guy, you see how much he wasted his time and his energy being angry at me? Because it made no difference. It made no difference. He was no wiser after that. Well, he might be now. I don't know. But that it didn't hurt me, and it didn't change my life. I still went on, you know, I guess in his mind, being the same asshole I've always been, haven't changed, haven't improved. So that's probably what he thinks of me, but I don't really care. But he wasted his energy being pissed off at me when it changed nothing. Nothing. Do you see my point? So consider your effort and where it's going, because you could really be wasting your time with some bullshit that doesn't matter, period. I'm just trying to be real with y'all, because like this is a real issue. There are people that will just, wind themselves up like a damn, what is that organ grinder with the little monkey that dances around, and whether you're the monkey or the organ grinder, you're still wasting your life. So it's like, you have to think, do I want to waste my time with this? Is there something else my life could be devoted to right now that would be better for me, or healthier, or more fulfilling, or more meaningful? See, he should have been focused on bonding with his 2-year-old son, who's going to grow up and see that example. But he was worrying about me instead of, anything else he could have been thinking about that would have been more important than me. There would have been a million things more important than me in his life. And instead, he was worrying about my smug ass at Walmart. I'd put money on it that to this day, he still tells that story. I can't believe this fucking bitch at Walmart one time. She fucking told me to hold my kid's hand. I almost fucking shot her. Can you imagine? He probably still tells that story. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So, if anything, the son of a bitch should be coming to me for help. I don't take men as clients per se, because I try to narrow down my focus, so I don't get too overwhelmed with like too many different things. But I mean, honestly, so just think about that before you start, cranking up. Just, you got to ask yourself some of this stuff, and give yourself a break by giving yourself some clarity, and really talk to yourself through these situations, So I'll go over the questions again so you can remember what we went over, because I know I talked a lot. Number 1, look at your expectations. Are you asking too much from somebody who just can't? And if that's the case, you got to accept it, because they've done their best. Am I angry at the right person? If some clown at work has done the wrong thing, don't bring that home and give it to your children. Don't do it. You can't let yourself do that, because they're going to grow up seeing you that way, and you don't want that. You don't want to be remembered for that. Of all the things you've done in your life, and as hard as you've worked, you don't want to be remembered for just being an asshole in the evenings. And is my anger getting me what I want? Is being angry at that girl at Walmart really worth it? Because I guarantee for him it wasn't. Because like I say, I just bebopped right along and continued to live my life like it never happened. Except now I'm telling the story, but it's a good story because it says a lot. But, is that even getting you what you want? Is it impacting your life the way you need your life impacted? End of, So just keep those things in mind. I hope that helps. If you have any questions or whatever, or anything you want me to go over in another video, please feel free to comment or message me, and I will totally focus on that, because I like to hear what y'all have to say. I've gotten some good ideas from y'all, so by all means keep it coming, because you give me really good stuff to work with. And it's nice to know what people are thinking. So anyway, I hope that was a good explanation tonight and gave you some clarity. And that's it. that's it for tonight. So thank you for tuning in and you know, sitting here with me for this, and just give it some thought and give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. Okay. And thank you.